afternoon and welcome to the June 19th, 2017 meeting of the Orlando City Council. We're going to begin today's proceedings with the invocation, and it's going to be offered today by Bishop Kelvin Cabarrus, who is the founding pastor of the Impact Church of Orlando, a church that works towards making an impact in the community through sharing the message and employing the method of unconditional love. We need a little bit of that around here, some unconditional love. Bishop Cabarrus earned his Bachelor of Science from Palm Beach Atlantic University and his master's degree in organizational leadership from the same university. He presently serves as a spiritual advisor and honorary deputy to the Orange County Sheriff's Office and on several boards. Most recently, he has been elected the president of the African American Council of Christian Clergy. I call on him very often for advice and guidance. He is one of Central Florida's 100 most influential voices in the Orlando Sentinel, and the invocation will be followed by the pledge led today by Robert Stewart. If you may stand or remain seated.
Let us pray. God of justice and mercy, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with clarity and restraint. Give us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Help us see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us, and to treat all persons, no matter how weak or poor, with the reverence your creation deserves. And finally, Father, renew us with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worth of the human person. And Father, we ask that in the light of the anniversary of such tragic occurrences that impacted our city a year ago, I pray that you would continue to sustain us, continue to strengthen us, and more than anything, continue to unite us. Bless our mayor, bless our city council, give them the wisdom, the direction, and everything that they need to be the most effective leaders that you have ordained them to be. We ask this as your sons and daughters, confident in your goodness and love. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bishop. All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please, and make a determination of a quorum?
Commissioner Gray?
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz? Commissioner Stewart?
Here.
Commissioner Sheehan?
Here.
Commissioner Hill?
Here.
Commissioner Eames?
Here.
Mayor Dyer?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
And Commissioner Ortiz is not expected. He's on a trade mission somewhere in South America. I think Brazil, maybe. Okay, let's take up the minutes from the workshop agenda review and city council meetings of June the 5th.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. All right, there's a lot of green T-shirts and a lot of blue T-shirts in the audience today. So I think Lisa might be introducing the green T-shirts, right? So why don't I introduce the blue T-shirts. These are the first day of the Police and Fire Teen Academy. So why don't you guys stand up and let us recognize you. Thank you for being here. Okay, and at awards presentations, Lisa, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer and Commissioners. So since 2014, with the help of members of our legislative delegation, Paramore Kids Zone and its two sister neighborhoods, one in Miami and one in Jacksonville, have been able to leverage about $3 million from the state of Florida to support the work we're doing in our three respective neighborhoods. The funds have been invested in youth jobs, tutoring, preschool programs, helping kids getting into and staying in and completing college, sports programs, teaching coding classes to children, building computer labs in the neighborhood, and taking busloads of kids to theatrical performances, behind-the-scenes tours of Kennedy Space Center, week-long camping trips, zip lining, college tours, and visits to historical sites throughout the state of Florida. This year again, and with the passionate and unwavering advocacy of Commissioner Regina Hill, who always puts wind in our sails, these three members of our legislative delegation, Representative Bruce Antone, Senator Randolph Bracey, and Senator David Simmons, once again have stepped up to the plate for Paramore children. I know it was a tough battle in Tallahassee this year, and these guys were with us every step of the way, protecting this program during a long and gruesome budget war. And so for the fourth year now, the state education budget includes funding for Paramore Kids Zone. Thanks. Thank you so much. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Mr. Lorden Official, one of our Paramore youth, who just graduated from Jones High School and is headed off to UF in the fall,
Right.
to say a few words of thanks, after which the kids from Paramore in the green shirts will offer a token of appreciation. So Lorden, please step up.
Good afternoon, Orlando's mayor and city commissioners, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lorden Official, a future Gator, except I leave this Wednesday to start summer B term at the University of Florida. I'm a youth ambassador representing the Paramore Kids Zone today to offer our most sincere thanks and emotions of gratitude to our special honorees. State Representative Bruce Antone, District 46. Senator Randolph Bracey, District 11. And Senator David Simmons of District 9. And last but not least, our very own Orlando City Commissioner of District 5, Regina Hill. Through their advocacy efforts, I've been able to reach feats that just would have been impossible without their support and funding. Many obstacles were in the way that required the cost of ACT test, SAT, high school dues, actual college application fees, and of course, my favorite, youth employment opportunities for career exploration. On behalf of the youth in the Paramore Kids Zone, we have prepared tokens of our appreciation for not only the previous advocacy work, but for our promising future success you will continue to foster. Thank you.
Thank you. So I would be remiss without thanking Mayor Dyer himself, who has been behind this program from the very, very beginning. And we could not have done none of this without you, Mayor Dyer. Thank you.
Well, we are certainly enjoying the state funding, I can say that.
Thank you. So on that note, we have selected 4 of our youth to come up and offer a token of appreciation to our electeds. And so I'm going to ask Representative Antone to come up and receive his award from the young man behind me. Yes, sorry. Senator Bracey to come up and to receive his award from the young man behind me now. Senator Simmons to come up and receive his award from the young man there. And we have one more gift, and this is for Commissioner Hill. Nice. Come on up. And so we're going to take photos, and I'm going to ask all the kids to come up, but I don't know if our electeds have anything they would like to say or add. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank all of you for your continued support of something that I know that Senator Bracy and Representative Antone fully believe in, along with me, and that is that children, when given the opportunity and the help themselves, then what happens is we find incredible results, because these children can and do learn when given the opportunity. And so we're very glad to be able to be a part of this success, of this continued success, and look forward to working with you in the future as we all try to make success out of all of these educational endeavors that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, as was stated before, this was a tough budget year, but I really just want to give kudos to Senator Simmons. He's the education budget chair, and I went to him on numerous occasions fighting for funding for this program, and so really he's the one who actually pushed it all the way through. But I believe in this program, I believe in these kids, and I think the sky's the limit, and so we have to continue to support programs like PKZ, and it's been an honor to do so, and I will continue to do so in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And now from the man who pushed it through on the House side, Representative Bruce Antone.
Thank you all so much, and we could not have gotten this funding without these two good gentlemen here. So again, thank you all for this token appreciation.
Okay, and now I'm going to ask all the kids to come up. We're going to take pictures now, and you can all meet the mayor and the commissioner and the electeds, and make sure you shake his hand and their hands.
Go Gators. Go Gators. Hey, go Gators. Go Gators. Enjoy. I know you will. Hopefully he'll graduate. We won. Where'd you go? Texas Tech? No. Harvard on the Bayou. Harvard on the Bayou? Houston.
So good to see all those positive youth having great experiences here at the city. So I'm going to move right into the mayor's update, and I could not remember that a week ago we marked a year since the Pulse tragedy with Orlando United Day, and I was completely overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and support, and again, not just locally, but from around the country and around the world. The residents of Orlando came together, as we have every day since June the 12th of last year, with love and compassion and unity to honor the victims and to support the survivors. So I want to thank all of the volunteers. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes effort to going into a number of different events that occurred on or around June the 12th, and so many people participated in the acts of love and kindness. I also want to recognize specifically our city employees. So many of the things that get done without much notice, whether it's police and fire, who kept our city safe, to the parking and transportation departments who made sure that our transportation plan was seamless, to the parks department. The biggest gathering was obviously at Lake Eola Park, where tens of thousands of people came, along with the thousands that came to Pulse for 2 or 3 different events. So we put together a short slideshow. So Ed, could you run that with a few of the images from the day? Thank you. So we have another opportunity to come together as a community on July the 4th. We'll be having our annual fireworks at the fountain on Tuesday, July 4th, and events will begin at about 4 and then run into the evening, and the fireworks will be a little bit after 8 o'clock. A couple items of note on the agenda. We will be having a vote under A1 on 14 mayor's matching grants, highly competitive, and there are some great projects, and I know there are a number of representatives from the neighborhood and community organizations that are receiving these. If you are one of the representatives of one of those organizations, would you stand and let us recognize you, please? We are also in item C4, we are approving an agreement to open a new Canvas co-working space in Paramore in the School of Emerging Media. UCF's given us some space over there, so I would like to recognize Commissioner Hill for her leadership in bringing Canvas to Paramore, and there will be room for 15 startup entrepreneurs from any industry, and they will get the support they need to get their businesses off the ground. Also, we have a couple of items that are furthering our revitalization of Paramore that relate to affordable single-family housing. The first is will be to approve the Future Leaders Development Corporation a contract to build 3 new single-family homes on city-owned lots along McFall Avenue, and the second is a home buyers club that will be operated by Hands. So with that, I will move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is a number of items that are acted upon through a single vote of council. We give each of our members an opportunity to comment on the consent agenda and also update you on important happenings or events from their districts. We rotate the order we do that, and Commissioner Stewart is first up today.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your sensitivity to the Orlando United Day. I thought that our city shined brightly during that time. I want to say special thanks to Commissioner Sheehan for your leadership, Patty. That was a difficult time, and I want to tell you how proud I am of what you accomplished and what and what we accomplished together as a city and with your leadership. So thank you very much, Patty.
Thank
I want to give her a round of applause, please. Let me also mention a couple of things. I had a chance on Friday night to go over to a Ramadan celebration over at Engage. It was a wonderful opportunity to be part of a worship service over there with the mosque down on Central, and I enjoyed being there and being part of that group. So thank you for the invitation. A couple of things coming up in the schedule. This Wednesday, June 21st, is Ivanhoe's Village monthly Wanderlust Wednesday. It's a fun way to explore the village, enjoy food trucks, shopping, sales, entertainment, and then a wine walk. So please come by this Wednesday. And then once again, I'm excited to participate in the world's largest swimming lesson through our Family Parks and Recreation Department. It's going to be on June 22nd at the College Park Community Center. So thank you, Lisa, for your leadership on that. It's a great way to raise awareness about water safety. It's unfortunate that Florida ranks the highest in drowning deaths of children from 1 to 4. And so I want you to please come join me if you can, and we will get the word out about how to make our kids safe around water. Also, I'm excited to announce the kickoff of the Baldwin Park Independence Day Bash. So if you can't come down on Tuesday evening, come down to Baldwin Park on Monday evening, the 3rd. It's a free community event, and we'll have fireworks there. It's the 3rd largest collection of fireworks in our entire city. So please come and get a chance to enjoy that. It's the evening of the 3rd. It's called the Independence Day Bash. And a quick note of thanks to our solid waste management staff. We're in the trial, our pilot period for our trash pickup. And want to remind everybody that they will be picking up on July 4th that week. And so we make sure that all those, there's not going to be a disruption in what you need. And then, of course, the Manila Museum on Sunday, July 9th, is from noon to 2:30. Is a free weekend at the Manila Museum. So a lot of stuff going on this summer. A lot of people have kids they want to make sure they keep occupied. This is great ways to accomplish that task. And Mayor, on the agenda, I just want to mention some of the ones in the Mayor's Matching Grant for our area, and a special thanks to Julie Tyndall and to Marcia Hope Goodwin. Are they around? We'll say thank you. There they are, back in the back. Thank you for your work on the Mayor's Matching Grant and what it means so much to our communities. I just want to mention 3 of them. They're important to my district. The Central Florida Community Arts Group, thank you very much. The Clarion Oaks Homeowners Association, thank y'all for the work that you're going to do and with the entranceway improvement. And of course, the Orlando Rowing Club, which has been nationally recognized for the work that we do in bringing cops and kids together for a common mission. So I want to say thank you to them. Mayor, that's one of those things that we do in the city, has an incredible impact, and I want to tell you how much I appreciate you continuing this project forward, even in tough times of our finances. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Move to District 4, Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'd like to recognize Lake Eola Heights Historic Neighborhood Association for their Mayor's Neighborhood Matching Grant and encourage staff to please fix their streets. They had another really bad brick repair. And, we shouldn't have these, they pay an assessment to get their bricks redone, and they shouldn't have to have ugly asphalt thrown all over them for an indeterminate amount of time. So sorry to piggyback on a positive thing with a negative thing, but I know that's important to y'all, Andrea, over in the Lake Eola Heights Historic Neighborhood Association. The invocation today was given by Bishop Kelvin Colberis, and he's very special to me because the morning of the Pulse tragedy, Terry DiCarlo and I were together on the street, and a man came up and offered to pray with us, and that's how I met Reverend Colberis. So it's really special for me that he was here today, and I'd also like to thank the city staff and all the city employees, especially those that left their desks for months on end for the Orlando Assistance Center and to help people, to the communication staff that helped out with all the graphics and things all the signage and things that people don't think about. Those who donated gave their hearts and souls to help out, and I know a lot of you did not get recognized for that, and I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. The Lake Eola staff who were having to chip wax off of every crack and crevice of Lake Eola Park when people left things there, and who hosted all of our events, OPD who helped with all of the events, and the public safety and things that people didn't know about, like having a cookout for the Pulse kids afterwards. That was just amazing for the SWAT team to do. Again, there's just too many things to thank everyone for, but I just want to say thank you so much. City staff, county staff working together, Barbara Poma at Pulse, everybody, came together in a way that I never thought I would see our city come together. And I need to thank some folks. The Orlando Love event, Remembering Our Angels, that was actually at Lake Eola Park, was done by D Squared Productions, Doug White, Karen Brown, Andrea Canny, Edge Factory, and Vitas Healthcare. They donated all of their service, all that graphic work, all those dancers, all that, everything that you saw that night, including George Estevez and Nancy. Nancy, why am I forgetting Nancy's last? Alvarez, Nancy Alvarez. Sorry, Nancy, it's been a long week. Everybody donated their time for that event, and I can't thank everyone enough. And I think it was important for us to show what kind of people we have in Orlando, and they really put an amazing face on Orlando and the worst possible time. And I know that the families appreciated from the feedback that I got afterwards, and that's all that really mattered. I know some folks were upset about not being able to be seated, but we had so much response from the families of the 49 that we had over 700 RSVPs from the families. So I know that we did right by those families. And Mayor, thank you for all your support and loaning me some staff for a while to help out with that. And like I say, we've been working on this for 6 months to make sure that everybody worked together and that we had a seamless day of events. And Dave Arnott, we could not have done this without you. And coordinating all those different logistical situations, again with and protesters and everything else that you have to deal with. It was just amazing. And I also have to thank Don Price as well for his sensitivity. 45 additional headstones came to Greenwood last week, and we're going to put out a headstone for each. And even though they're not buried there, we want to make sure that their friends have a place locally that they can visit. And that's just that. And again, all donated by the community, and that just shows what an amazing heart this community has. And I love you, Orlando, and I always will. So thank you, Mayor. That's all I had for today.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. As it's been stated, on last Monday, we remembered the lives of the 49 victims of the Pulse incident. I also personally want to thank you, Mayor and Commissioner Sheehan, for your leadership during those times, and also last week. Mayor, you said something that was so profound, and you stated, not the quote, but what was represented last week was what Orlando always had. You stated that you would like to believe that we didn't just become Orlando strong by that incident, but the world, through that unfortunate incident, the world was now shown that we were a proud Orlando, that we was a strong Orlando, that we was an inclusive Orlando, and that we were a loving Orlando. And I tell you, because of such a horrific event in our city, love won. And I do believe that it's made us not just a more loving community, it made us family. And so just thank you again, and council, for just being that, regardless of faith, genders, colors, that we all came together to support love. Last Saturday, I spoke over at the PKZ Baby Institute, and they have a unique program there, and it's the parenting class, where young adults, and there were some even older adults there, some young men and also women, that were being given parenting strategies and the tools so that they can become better parents and role models. In that program, parents learn how to help their children develop their vocabulary and thinking skills while preparing them for school. More than 200 Paramore parents have graduated from the Baby Institute, and more than 400 children have shared in the benefits because of the education of their parents. So I was really proud to be the host speaker for that event, in which they coined themselves the Storm Riders. And I just felt as one, not as their commissioner, because we know storms in life may come. But if you ride through them all, the clouds do dissipate and the sun come out. So those women, regardless of many of the trials and tribulations that they have there in the Paramore area, they were able to complete this 9-week course, and they were very proud by it, and many of them are now going on to enroll in college or going to get their GED and still taking part of many of the classes that we have there at the Paramore Kids Zone. Over the next few weeks, I'll be hosting a series of community meetings, with the first being Wednesday, January the 21st at 2 p.m. in Carver Park. And then also that evening at Griffin Park. And it just be talking about, many people don't know about some of the things that the city has achieved, especially in District 5, addressing the community with some of their current concerns and letting them know about many of the resources that we have here at the city. So I'll be doing a listening tour on Wednesday, June 28th at 2 p.m. I'll be over at Lake Larner Dune, and that's on West Central. And then we'll also be, and city staff will be there addressing some of the coding and public works and different issues that you're talking about, Commissioner Sheehan. On June 28th, we'll be over at St. John. I've been someone that have been a strong advocate of youth jobs and youth services and programs. And through the mayor's support and things that you've already pushed forth and the council has passed when it comes to youth programs and funding. The National League of Cities have summoned me to Washington to be a panelist on June 27th to talk about some of the initiatives, as you saw here today in Chambers, all the different youth and the positive things, as you stated, Mayor, that the city of Orlando already does. I'll be going to speak in the city's behalf. I'd like to also give some stats here this summer through my summer jobs initiative for District 5. The city has awarded 130 youth jobs for the summer throughout the city for District 5 youth. Through community partners, I've leveraged 125 jobs, so that's a total of 225 youth that's working throughout the city from District 5. Through our youth summer programs with our Parks and Recs, I'd like to state that 559 youth are in our community centers here in our District 5 area. So those are some pretty powerful numbers when we talk about youth services and giving our children opportunities and keeping them off the streets of Orlando and out the way of something that can hinder them from being successful. So close to 1,000 youth in District 5 this summer are either in our centers receiving programs or working. So I just wanted to attest to what we're doing here in the center when it comes to youth, especially on the west side. And I know Commissioner Ings probably have the same numbers, and there's just a lot of great things that's going on. So F1 is the Housing Award for infill housing. I'm excited about that. I'll also be updating you on another CRA piece. And the F2 Paramore Home Buyers Club, I'm excited to see that program getting ready to be passed. I know there was some concern last council when I took that off of the agenda, and it wasn't because there was any problems. We just wanted to upgrade it to where at that time there was some language where only current Paramore residents could be a part of that Home Buyers Club. But we know there are other residents that had been longtime residents in Paramore that possibly want to come back to Paramore and purchase homes, we want to make sure that language, if you were a prior resident at any time in Paramore, that you could also be a part of this very important home buyers club. And I also wanted to make sure that other residents that was in the city could take advantage of this home buyers club. We wanted to be all inclusive, but the priority and preference will be for Paramore residents or those that were Paramore residents. But we also wanted to make sure that others had the opportunity, because it'll be 60 slots available, and they will be doing quarterly meetings with those 60 clients. They will be doing credit repair. We will also, those that might need to increase their skill set so that they could afford to have an affordable home, we'll be helping them find training and some opportunities to increase their skill set so they can have living wages. So that is, we wanted to make sure that while we were building these homes in Paramore, we already had people in the pipeline that could purchase, not just build homes with no one intended or in mind. So I like to thank Hands for their partnership in this very important program of building homeowners in the Paramore area. On this, also on the agenda, we've had $38,500 that will be awarded to District 5 with the Mayor's Matching Grant. And thank you, Mayor, for always putting funding in place for grassroots programs that's helping us do the work here in the city. So Carter Street Neighborhood Association, Ms. Finney and her group that are over there doing amazing work, congratulations. These grants are very competitive and they're not easy to receive. There's quite a bit of work that has to be put into these, so it's not because your friends of friends of friends. These programs are great, and I just want to say that just in case anyone out there is wondering why these folks, they really earned these programs, and Marcia Goodman-Hope and her team make sure the portfolio and assist them in creating what the structure of these grants is needed. So the Center for Multicultural Wellness is also being awarded. The Central Florida Community Arts Program is being awarded also in 3 and 5. The Tamika Arts Foundation, which is a design and sound and writing music organization, will be receiving a fund. The U-Camp Summer Program, which is another film and documentary camp, youth in District 5 will be able to receive these skill sets. And of course, the Duel and Dragons, that has always been that organization that bridged the gap through the OPD and our youth in the Rosemont, Paramore, District 5 and 6 communities. So with that being said, Mayor, I almost feel like that little person that was in a cocoon. And now, today, for me, it marks many of the things that I wanted to see when I came to City Hall. And that was housing, economic development, and jobs and youth services. And on this particular agenda, all those things have came to fruition. When we start talking about the business incubator, when we start talking about this infill housing, when we talk about these youth services, my 3-year tenure, and I like to thank staff, because we've been working on these things with the support of your staff and you, Mayor, having meetings after meetings, and Byron and everyone saying, Commissioner, patience, we're working on it. And today marks the day that we got it done. So I thank you all for helping me build a better District 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move to District 6. Move to District 6, Commissioner Ames.
Thank you, Mayor, and I'd like to say thank you to yourself and also Commissioner Patty Sheehan and Barbara Poma for really pulling Orlando together during that very blessed time. And I call it blessed because having to go through the recognition and remembering process is also a healing process. And we must recognize that, and we must share with each other, and to see the different communities that were involved. And Commissioner Sheehan, thank you for continuing to remember the African American community that were also involved in this and really hurt as a result of this, because it was all about the people. And more specifically, Orlando coming together to really show that we are a solid community, and that we are a loving community, and that we do move forward when the enemy comes in like a flood, and we know that he lifts up a standard, and Orlando lifted up a standard called love, and that made a difference in our presentation on this past June the 12th. I'd like to say, too, that during the past June the 12th, you know, I was in Detroit attending a conference and getting ready to come back to Orlando. And so here this year, it always will remind me of where I was when I got the news about what was going on in my city and how it really affected me to come home to something like that. So again, thank you guys. Thank you, Mayor Dyer. Thank you, Commissioner Sheehan. And really thank you to all of our city commissioners, because you guys really showed a lot of support to the community for this, and we stood together shoulder to shoulder and arm to arm. I'd also like to say that on Thursday, June 8th, I attended a birthday celebration and presented a proclamation to a 9-year-old kid named Louis Edward Martins, and he's the son of Louise and Claudia Martins. And this was done at the Rinaldo Academy, which is on President Barack Obama Parkway and L.B. McLeod Road. Well, Louise was 9 years old. He attends First Academy there at First Baptist Church. And Louise loves math, and he has read 300 books since he was 9 years old. So this little kid certainly deserved this proclamation. A lot of his friends were there at this newly built soccer complex. It hasn't been officially open yet, but it will be open soon. And so that was a very good opportunity for me. And also it was a very special opportunity for me too, because June 8th is also my wife's June's birthday. So I presented him his proclamation. And then on June's birthday is also our anniversary, so we were celebrating our 7th wedding anniversary. And Mayor Dyer, you were the giveaway father there for June, so you're part of that celebration too, so thank you. Also, the Claudia Allen Center seniors had their corn festival on June the 10th, that Saturday. The Jimmy Williams with the 2nd Annual Community Bounce House Festival was held at Grand Avenue Park. Lots of people attended that as well. The 4th Annual Man Up and Cook event was held at the Dr. I. Sylvester Hankins Park. Samantha Wallace, the coordinator and the director for this particular program, she did an outstanding job. Very well attended event. And then on Tuesday, June 13th, I attended the Ramadan Iftar dinner that was held at the Doubletree Hotel there at 5780 Major Boulevard. Thank you, Neil Labid, for inviting me, and several other local elected officials were in attendance there. And of course, we couldn't have dinner until after the fasting was over for those that were fasting during the celebration of Ramadan. And then on Thursday, the Father's Day Luncheon for those at the L. Claudia Allen Senior Center was held at Golden Corral. I wasn't able to be there because on Friday, June 16th, I attended the funeral of the aunt of June Marie Ings, my wife, Mrs. Louise Smith, in Detroit, Michigan. Louise Smith is the sister to June's late father, and she was 90 years old. So it was obviously a wonderful time that we had. And then Marcia Hope Goodwin told me that she lost an aunt who was 88 years old, and they celebrated her homegoing service in Charlotte, North Carolina. So our condolences with you as well, Marcia, you and your family. And then coming up is the 111th annual session of the National Baptist Congress. And I will present a proclamation and give greetings at this annual session. They started June 18th and they're going throughout June 23rd. They're at the Carib Royal Hotel and Convention Center there at 8101 World Center Drive in Orlando. And Pastor Morrison is Walter Hawkins' pastor. Walter, I'm surprised you're not at the conference right now, convention. City work first? Okay, all right. So Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church is the local church that's involved there. And Mount Pleasant is located on Prince Hall and Bruton Boulevard. And again, I would just like to say Barbara Poma, she looked great. With all of that was going on, she really looked great. And she's to be commended for really standing tall there and really making sure that the families and everyone was being comforted during that time. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move to District 1. Commissioner Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. Activities in the southeast part are on my website and my Facebook page. I finally came into the 21st century, and I have a Facebook page now, so quite proud of that. But I would like to make special mention, Saturday night, the Lake Nona Rotary Club hosted a law enforcement gala. As we all know, it's been a tough year for law enforcement, and the Lake Nona Rotary Club thought it was important to recognize a couple of officers who kind of went above and beyond. So that was a really good event, and I'm proud to be associated with that organization. We had a great turnout and a great representation from OPD, so thanks for everybody for coming out for that. On the agenda, I also would like to add my congrats to our neighbors for the Mayor's Matching Grant. The thing that I think is great about this program is the keyword matching. And that is, you folks are putting your money in the game too. And to me, that's always a great public-private partnership when you care enough about your community that you will put your own money to improve your neighborhood. And so I think it's a great program, and we're glad to supplement that. So congratulations for doing that. Also on the agenda, I'm going to vote no on item C4. Not because I don't agree with the philosophy or the program. I just think there's a couple of issues there that need to get worked out, and we're not quite there yet. And then, as I stated in the agenda review, I have a conflict on the second read ordinance, 2017-26 and 28, and I've filed the paperwork. So with that one objection, Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Stewart. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed. And so the motion carries, and all the mayor's matching grants will be awarded. Okay, before we move on to the CRA, I'm guessing we might have a few students from either Valencia or UCF here as part of their government classes. Are there any students here today? Want to just stand up and let us recognize you? Thank you for being here. Okay, if you were only here to see the matching grants and you want to make a quick exit, now would be the perfect time to do that. if there's no objection, I'm going to recess the city council meeting and convene the CRA meeting. Thomas, we have meeting minutes of, let's see, May 15th from the CRA. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion approved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right. Number 2, Thomas, you want to tell us about facade grant?
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Item number 2 is approving a downtown facade and building stabilization program funding agreement between the CRA and Stephen J. Wolk for 223 to 231 Magnolia Avenue. As always, I'd like to remind you that the value in this program is that it not only encourages the reuse of vacant and underutilized buildings, but obviously it addresses the aesthetics and improves the appearance throughout downtown. The project makes available funding for from $5,000 on a residential property up to as much as $40,000 under certain circumstances for commercial properties. And if you get the feeling that I'm coming before you a little more often with these now, you're right. And so I wanted to show the mayor and council just a brief background and history on the facade program. We added the building stabilization program component to it in more recent times. But as you can see here, after a brief start in 2001, there was a hiatus for a couple years in 4 and 5, and then a long hiatus during the Great Recession. But if you look, starting in 2013, the program is really ignited and come alive and is emerging as a very vibrant program, an active program, and so we're happy about that. You see the largest year of funding, $120,000 was in 2014, and then the largest number of grants, 7, was last year in 2016. So the program's doing well. Today would be, if you decide to approve it, will be the 4th grant for this year that we're currently in. As you can see, 3 others, 28 West Central, 190 South Orange, and 400 Pittman you've already acted upon earlier. As I said, the applicant this year is the owner of 223 to 231 North Magnolia. You can see the building here. The building was built in 1954 and is in need of complete renovation. Owner is going about a very comprehensive renovation of the interior as well as the exterior. Total project cost exceeds $700,000. The program funds that are requested in this application would be $20,000 in our program funding to be used for a glass storefront system that, as you can see, will make uniform in appearance not only the first floor but also the second floor offices as well. And that improvement itself, that component of the overall improvement, exceeds $86,000 in costs. And of course, the Facade Grant Review Committee has met and made a recommendation of approval. And if there are not any questions, staff is requesting approval of the Downtown Facade and Building Stabilization Program funding agreement between the CRA and Stephen J. Wolk for 223 to 231 Magnolia, subject to review and approval of the City Attorney's Office and authorizing the Chair of the CRA and the Executive Director to execute such funding agreement.
So moved to approve. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there a discussion? Commissioner Hill?
No, I just wanted to know, not on that piece.
Okay. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, Commissioner Hill, I understand you would like to make a notification related to an item that we took up at the last CRA meeting. You're
Yes,
recognized.
yes. Thank you, Mayor. So, Mayor and Commissioners, you'll recall that on our last CRA meeting on June 5th, we approved an item for the ranking and contract negotiations for design build services for the CRA Paramore Residential Housing RFP 17-0247, which I do believe this is a great project for Paramore. One I've been working very hard for the last 4 years, a project that will bring 10 new single-family homes back to Paramore. When we approved the item at our last meeting, we tentatively awarded the work on all 10 homes to just one vendor. After the meeting, I went back and I restudied the RFP document, and as I suspected, staff had structured the RFP to select up to 2 firms to undertake this work. After thinking about it for some more and some time, it occurs to me that the selecting of the 2 firms had some advantages. For one thing, it may speed up the delivery of these new homes to have two firms working instead of just one. It introduces and invests two firms in building Paramore. And I think you all remember that was something that I spoke about. And when we undertake future RFPs like this, we will have at least two vendors with relevant experience, improving our chances of competitive RFPs. For these reasons, I want to put my fellow commissioners on notice at this meeting that our next meeting on July 10th, I intend to move to amend something previously adopted, to amend our prior action on RFP 17-0247 to award 10 homes to the top 2 ranked vendors, with 5 or 6 sites going to the top ranked firm and 4 or 5 going to the second ranked firm, with our chief procurement official being given the authority to award the sites among the vendors as he finds most economical and efficient. So Mayor and Council, will you please, Mayor, can you please agenda this item for our next CRA meeting?
Okay, so there's no vote needed at this meeting. This is in essence a motion to reconsider. If it was at the same meeting, then it would be a motion to reconsider, but under our processes, this is the appropriate process to bring up an item that we have previously passed in another meeting. So this will be agended for consideration at the next CRA meeting. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Okay, further business, Thomas?
There's none, Mayor. Thank you.
And the CRA will stand adjourned without objection. There is no NID meeting, there is no OPEB meeting, so that will bring us right up to hearings, ordinances on first reading. We'll reconvene the City Council meeting for hearings, ordinances. Let's see, hearings, ordinances, first reading. Okay, number 1.
Ordinance 2017-31, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to the city's growth management plan, GMP, providing the summer 2017 package of GMP amendments pursuant to the expedited state review process, amending the GMP to create future land use element sub-area policy S.12.10, amending the future land use element figure LU-1 relating to commercial uses in the industrial commercial district, deleting and replacing the historic preservation element figure HP-2 relating to local historic landmarks, providing for an amendment of the city's growth management plan, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify relating to this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, number 2, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-27, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to personal storage facilities, amending Chapter 58, Orlando City Code, to allow personal storage facilities as a conditional use in certain zoning districts, and to update the associated building site design and conditional use standards, providing legislative findings and for severability, codification, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Ings. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and so the motion carries. Commissioners, this is an ordinance that requires a public hearing after 5 p.m. unless we vote by a supermajority to hold the second public hearing at our normal City Council meeting time. Staff recommends that we do that at our regularly scheduled City Council meeting that begins at 2 o'clock on Monday, July 10th, 2017. Is there a motion to hear this item at the 2 o'clock meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, so we will hear this at our regularly scheduled meeting. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-35, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's adopted growth management plan, future land use element, sub-area policy S.26.5 to increase the floor area ratio for non-residential development within the sub-area policy boundary south of Wallace Road, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Mr. Cheek, we have a card? Have you turned a card in,
I
Trip?
did not turn a card in. I
Would
did
you
not turn a card in.
turn one in
I
after
will.
you're done?
Yes, sir. You ready for me to proceed?
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commission. My name is Trip Cheek. I'm with the Winder Wheel Haynes Law Firm, and I am here on behalf of property owners at the adjoining property. I represent two doctors who have doctor's offices in an office building that is to the south of the property that's being considered. There has been previous discussions about this with staff, and I don't know whether this has been presented to you in a packet, but the property that we're dealing with here on this ordinance is a corner cutout of Wallace Road and Turkey Lake Road. Originally, there were some issues about parking, and the developer here wanted to have shared parking with the condominium building where my clients own office condominiums. They changed that, and now they're providing on-site parking. The problem is that they can't get a curb cut because they're too close to the corner. And so what they've proposed is they've proposed to have ingress and egress to this new building go through the condominium's parking lot. My clients object to that, feel that there's already a parking issue there. They have difficulty with their patients finding places to park. They're concerned that routing the parking travel through their parking lot to get to this corner piece that's before you today essentially sort of integrates the parking, and it's going to be, it's not going to help the situation any. My clients don't have any objection to the development of this corner parcel, but they have not, but they don't agree to allow the ingress and egress to come through their parking lot. So what I wanted to make you aware of today is that the site plan that is the basis of the ordinance that's before you contains ingress and egress, which has to be approved by the condominium building to the south. My clients collectively own 21% of the condominium building to the south, which means that there's not enough, it takes 80% to approve ingress and egress easements across the property. That would affect our leasability. My clients don't agree, and so this is going to be a problem that we feel needs to be resolved some other way. I'm not here to speak about the curb cut process or other means of ingress and egress, only to say that my clients do not agree to the ingress and egress across the condominium parking lot, and we wanted to raise that to your attention. And for that reason, we would encourage you to take that into consideration and state that while perhaps approval of site plan is not exactly what's in front of you today, the site plan that is the basis of what's in front of you today, my clients would object to and we don't think is legally achievable at this point.
Okay, thank
you.
Dean, can you enlighten us here?
Good afternoon, Mayor. The site in question is part of the larger PD that was approved some time ago. And it was always contemplated that this out parcel was going to have cross-access easement from the main parcel to the site in question. In the end, if there's a property dispute between the two owners and they choose not to provide cross-access, even if you were to approve this master plan and they could not replat to show that cross-access, then what's been stated this afternoon is correct. The plan could not be effectuated because of its location in the corner. We will not allow for direct access to the street. It has to be internally from the site.
Recommendation?
Well, I don't think that we've talked to the city attorney about this. The application is properly for the city. It meets the code with regard to parking. In fact, I think there's excess parking proposed for this smaller site in excess of what's required by code. I would defer to the city attorney as to whether you should take action, but from a planning perspective, it meets code in all respects.
Kyle, my initial thought would be this is on first reading, so go ahead and adopt it and then encourage the parties to see if they can work this out.
Yeah,
What's your thoughts?
that's a good plan. The two parties are going to have to sort it out at some point. Approving this sub-area policy and approving the PD, if that's what you choose to do. There's a PD associated with this coming in a few minutes. doesn't force the condominium association to allow access. They still got to sort that out. Our obligation under our land development code is just to process the application because it was complete. And as Dean said, from a planning perspective, this plan makes sense. Now, again, that doesn't mean that this applicant is allowed to trespass on the neighboring property. They've got to go sort that out, but that's a private matter. So our recommendation is for you to pass this out on first, but also to pass it out on second if nothing else changes. They'll just have to sort it out between themselves.
Okay, it sounds like the applicant has a conundrum right now.
Yes.
Commissioner Ings?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say I did speak with Dean Grandin at briefing this morning concerning this issue. And so I'm fully prepared to move forward as Kyle is suggesting. And it's really up to the property owners to kind of sort out through the other piece there as it relates with the cross-access.
Okay. Commissioner Stewart?
Thank you, Mayor. I was just asking, that's the same question of city attorney, just to find out what is the process. It appears that the applicant and as well as Tripp they know that they must get approval even if we move forward.
They understand that, and that's something that they've got to sort out under their condo docs or their CCNRs, things that we don't get involved in. That's something they'll have to sort out. I hope that answers your question. If it does, Mayor, you could, assuming Mr. Cheek wants to make the same exact comments on the PD ordinance, you can incorporate those same comments without him having to get up and repeat himself if you'd like.
Okay, further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And Tripp, I will, when we get to the PD, I'll just have your same comments spread in the minutes there as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, hearings, ordinances, second reading, number 1.
Ordinance 2017-28, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, rezoning certain land generally located south of Rixey Street, west of DiMaggio Boulevard, east of Lake Baldwin Lane, and north of Hargrave Street, and comprised of .96 acres of land, more or less, from the one-family residential zoning district with the aircraft noise overlay district in part, the planned development district with the aircraft noise overlay district in part, and no city zoning in part, to the planned development zoning district with the aircraft noise overlay district, providing a development plan and special land development regulations of the planned development district, providing for severability, correction of Scribner's errors, permit disclaimer, and effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-26, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, annexing to the corporate limits of the city certain land generally located east of Lake Baldwin Lane, south of Rixey Street, west of DiMaggio Boulevard, and north of Hargrave Street, and comprised of .57 acres more or less, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to designate the property as residential low intensity on the city's official future land use maps, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use maps, providing findings, amendment of the city's boundary description, and for amendment of the city's official maps, providing for severability, correction of Scribner's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Ings. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-29, an ordinance amending Chapter 55 of the Code of the City of Orlando entitled Regulation of Taxicabs, Limousines, Luxury Passenger Vehicles, Shuttles, and Other Vehicles for Hire by amending Section 55.02 definitions to amend definitions of passenger vehicle, transportation network company, and vehicle for hire, and by amending Sections 55.14, 55.18, and 55.31 to delete provisions regulating transportation network companies, providing for severability and an effective date.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Anyone from the public? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, ordinances on first read, number 1.
Ordinance 2017-32, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, annexing to the corporate limits of the city certain land generally located north of State Road 417, east of Narcoossee Road, and south of Moss Park Road, addressed as 10775 Narcoossee Road, and comprised of 2.65 acres, more or less, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to designate the property as urban village on the city's official future land use maps, amending the boundary lines of sub-area policy S.35.4 to include the property, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use maps, providing findings, amendment of the city's boundary description, and for amendment of the city's official maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public that'd like to testify? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-33, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, designating certain land generally located north of State Road 417, east of Narcoossee Road, and south of Moss Park Road, and comprised of 2.65 acres of land, more or less, as the Planned Development District, providing a development plan and special land development regulations of the Planned Development District, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, permit disclaimer, and effective date.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-30, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending and restating the boundaries and land development regulations of the 8301 McCoy Plan Development Zoning District relating to certain land generally located north of McCoy Road, south of Dakota Drive, and west of Narcoossee Road, and comprised of 10.4 acres of land, more or less, providing a development plan and special land development regulations of the Planned Development District, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify relating to this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And number 4.
Ordinance 2017-36, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the land development regulations for a portion of the Double Eagle Way Planned Development District, generally located south of Wallace Road and west of Turkey Lake Road, and comprised of 0.37 acres of land, more or less, providing an amendment development plan for the Planned Development District, providing amended special land development regulations, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ing, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? Madam Clerk, would you have let the minutes reflect that Mr. Cheek's comments related to Ordinance 2017-35 are applicable to 2017-36 as well?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there any further testimony, discussion among commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and so the motion carries. That concludes the official agendaed business of the Orlando City Council for today.